When you're up against a hostile room of people who don't want to be there, you need real strategies that get results. Welcome to From Hostage to Hero, the show that gives you practical advice you can use right now in the courtroom, boardroom, or classroom. Learn how to move your unwilling audience to one that is invested in what you're saying, eager to participate, and engaged in the process. Learn from the attorney whisperer herself, your host, Sari Delamotte.
Well, hello, everybody. Today is such a special day. First of all, it's the 1-year anniversary of the official launch of the H2H Crew. We opened a year ago in October officially. We had done what we call a founders launch back in the summer for early adopters who wanted to get in and pay the lowest price ever. And those of you who are still with us, which is the majority of you, thanks for sticking with us, and you're welcome with the low price. You get to have that for your lifetime. But it's just such a great time because we have had so much fun with the opens that we've been doing, and we have so much planned in the future for the H2H Crew. And I'm going to talk about how the H2H Crew works and give you some previews of things that are coming up. But the majority of today's podcast episode is going to be around the 3 reasons why you should not join the crew, which you might think is a very interesting approach to marketing. Well, I'll be the first to tell you that marketing is not my forte, but I will tell you that over the last year, I have learned so much about what kind of person really works in the H2H Crew and how the H2H Crew really works for that person. And I want to share that with you today. For one, to save you a lot of headache and time if you are thinking about joining the crew and then hear me today and decide not to. I think that saves us both. It doesn't do me any good to have you come into the crew and have a bad experience. Not that I think that's what people have had. We're going to talk about that. But even so, I think that if this helps you save some time and energy on your end, great. But I also think for those of you who are planning to join, that this will be very helpful to give you a preview of really how to get the most out of your membership. So a little bit of a history of H2H. So my assistant has been bugging me, Christy, the assistant to the stars, and she really is the star. She is the reason why everything works around here. But she'd been bugging me to do a membership for a long time. So I had kept saying no, because first of all, I didn't know how we could possibly do the work that we do online. We normally work in person and on nonverbals, and mindset coaching is over the phone, and who would want to be coached in front of each other, and how's this going to work? But then COVID hit, and we were forced to take things online, and we were forced to make it work. And not only did this work, we had such a great group of attorneys join us back in April in 2020 when this was all first going down for our leaning into the pause programming. And it really showed me, 1, that there was a need for this, and 2, that we could do it. And so we ended up launching the following July, and as they say, the rest is history. And H2H Crew has become my main focus. That's where I put most of my energy, if not all of my energy these days, because it's such a fantastic group of trial attorneys who come together and help each other out. You know, just today, Christy had posted in the Facebook group for H2H Crew. That is a different Facebook group than the one you may be in. If you're in our big group, the From Hostage to Hero Facebook group, that's not the same. But she had posted in the H2H Crew, what's your favorite thing about being a crew member? And I posted in there, my favorite thing about the crew is how they continually show up for each other. So even outside of our scheduled programming, people will post and say, I need help. Would you get together for a voir circle? Or could you help me brainstorm ideas on closing? And the group consistently rallies for each other. In fact, many of them have gone in person when it's been available. They haven't had a lot of that yet, but to trials to support other H2H members. Many people have gotten together at conferences around the country to take pictures as the H2H group. So it's been a wonderful experience, and I want to talk today about how you can become part of that experience, but the 3 reasons why you should consider maybe not partaking in this experience. So before I talk about the 3 reasons why, let me tell you a little bit about what the crew is. So the reason why I put the crew together was because I continually saw a problem across the board as I was working one-on-one or in small groups with trial attorneys. So attorneys would either hire me to help them work up a case or hire me to come in for jury selection, or they'd come out and work with me with some mock juries, or they would come out to a studio class. That was basically the way that we made our money and the way that we got our programming out to all y'all. And it was wonderful, and it was great seeing you in person and working on all those trials. I learned so much. The book, in fact, couldn't have been possible without all of those experiences. But what I did see missing in all of that is that people get really excited when they were here, and then they would go home and they would forget what they learned, or they didn't really have a place to practice it, or they weren't sure if they were doing it right, and they would fall back into all of their old patterns. And so what I recognized was that what we really needed when it came to this work and when it came to trial skills is we needed a place to do really 4 things. And I continually speak about this, and I'll be speaking about it later in the Facebook Live. I believe that will be later today, about these 4 areas that to really help you master becoming a trial attorney. And so the first piece is the training. You obviously need the training, and that's what people were getting when they were coming out to work with me, or when they saw me speak on the speaking circuit. They were getting that training, and that part was working, and it was working well. But the second piece that they didn't have an opportunity to have and work with was the practice piece. Meaning, once you've learned what it is you need to learn, you need a place where you can practice and play with it. But even that isn't enough, which brought me to the third thing, which is you now need feedback on that practice. So let's say you put together an issue-oriented voir dire, which is a huge piece of the From Hostage to Hero method. You need some feedback on what you put together and whether it works. And then once you have that issue-oriented voir dire and you want to practice it by conducting a voir dire, then you need some feedback on your questions and how the jury is responding to you. And once you put together your opening, you want to place to practice it and get feedback on that, on how you did or whether the content is good. So there's really 3 pieces. And then there was really a 4th piece too, which is the community that supports you as you are learning, as you are practicing, and as you are getting your feedback. So we were able to bring all 4 of those things together in what is now known as the H2H Crew. You get live training from me once a month on a special topic. Normally we have a topic that goes throughout the quarter. So for example, this quarter, this Q4 of 2021's topic is around enough. So month 1 is around not having enough time. Month 2 is about not having enough money. And month 3 is all about not feeling like you are enough. So that is the focus of this quarter, but other quarters, we've had different focuses, and every quarter there's a new focus. But once a month, there's a live training that you can come in and learn from me and be put in small groups and work with others and really learn the content, whatever that may be. And if you aren't able to watch the live training live, everything is recorded, absolutely everything in the crew. So you can go and watch it on your own. So there's the live training portions. We also have voir dire and opening learning labs. So instead of actual training, we have our Coach June, who is available to walk you through the process. So you can actually bring an active case and learn the issue-oriented voir dire with June and have him help you put together your voir dire questions or your ideal juror profile or opening or so on and so forth. So that's a little bit of both instruction, not so much practice. It's more in the instruction realm, but it's like hands-on instruction. So that's the instruction piece that we have in the H2H Crew. Then all the practice opportunities that we have are around the things that I just mentioned. So We have case workshop, which is kind of like instruction and practice at the same time. You're not actually doing anything, but we're brainstorming around your case. So you might come in and say, I want help creating an issue-oriented voir dire. I want help on strategy. I want help on what my themes should be. So we do that. We work together. We also have voir dire circle. So we have other H2H members playing jurors, some who are observing, and then you who are conducting, and you get to practice your voir dire and get coaching in real time. We have the nonverbal coaching part of the membership where you can come in and present 5 minutes of content, and then you get feedback and coaching from me in real time. Again, all videotapes, so you can go back and watch it. Then we have all kinds of other things like special guest webinars. We've had Randy McGinn, we've had David Ball, we've had Rick Friedman, we've had Courtney Rowley, Keith Mitnick, just a variety of guests that have come in, not only just to give webinars to our people, but also to work with them in small groups. And then of course there's our Facebook group, and I post videos, and there's assignments. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do in the H2H crew. You can be just something every week that you can participate in live for sure, but tons and tons of content in the back end on the membership site. So it's an awesome place to be for a really small cost. I think we're opening, I should have looked this up before I started podcasting, but in the low $200 range. So that's your monthly fee. Now let me just put that into context for you. That if you are to work with one of our private coaches, which many of our members do because they even want more help, to work with me privately is $75,000 just right off the bat, and it's invitation only. So just compare that to $200 some a month for all that you get. And to work with one of our coaches to get 2 sessions a month, 50-minute sessions, is $595. So this $200 a month, 200 something, I think it's $219 or $229. I can't remember. It goes up a little bit every time. So the earlier you get in, the better. Is just nothing compared to what you would pay for this content anywhere else, not to mention the chance to work with me and some of the other coaches in the program. So for example, Coach K, who does charge $595 for 2 sessions a month, is in the membership twice a month offering mindset coaching. And it's life-changing and absolutely something you want to consider doing. So let's now talk. Now you've heard how amazing the membership is. And by the way, we're getting lots of results in the membership because I know that's what y'all are about is results. And we've had a $74 million verdict. Again, I'm not taking total, it's not all up to me. Let me put it that way. Obviously, many of our trial attorneys use several methods, and they don't completely just say this is all H2H unless it was, and then they do, but it's obviously the attorney and not me that created that verdict. And there were other things that went into that verdict. And of course they have co-counsel they worked with as well. But we've had a $74 million verdict. We've had a $13 million verdict. We've had a $10 million verdict. We've had all kinds of verdicts come through, even during COVID times. So yes, they are also getting results. But here are the 3 reasons why you should not join the crew after hearing how amazing it is. So the first reason is that you aren't willing to invest in yourself. And I mean that in a variety of ways. So first off is your ability, or your willingness, I should say, to invest monetarily. As I've already said, the cost is nominal compared to what you get. I had one attorney who just joined our last open, and she'd asked me, she's like, how much is this? Like $5,000 a year, $10,000 a year, $50,000 a year? I said, it's more like around $2,500 a year if you add it all up, $3,000. I mean, way less than what she was thinking. She was just floored, and she came in and she's been active and she's enjoying it. So the cost is nominal, but what I see from so many of you is that you're only willing to invest monetarily or otherwise if you have an upcoming trial for a couple of reasons. One, because you want to be able to deduct the cost, which I totally get, don't get me wrong. But 2, because you think that's the only time you need this. And I'm going to really suggest that that's not true. Now, you may disagree with me, and there you go. There's a reason not to join, because if we do disagree on this particular issue, the H2H crew is not for you. And that is that the skills that you need to have and learn and practice and get feedback on in the crew are skills that you need to be sharpening consistently, not just before you go to trial. In fact, I am now booked out over a year in advance. You cannot get on my calendar at this point for over a year. So you can't just call me 2 weeks before and say, can you come help me? Because I'm going to say no. But if you were in the crew, you could get help immediately. And not only that, even when you're not in trial, if you are investing in yourself, we're going to talk about this in just a minute, not just monetarily, you will consistently be working on these skills so that you are not always just trying to sharpen up or get ready for trial right before it happens, because that's not the right time. There's way too many other things going on, as y'all know, before trial that you should be focusing your time and energy on, not trying to shove in a year's worth of learning into a couple weeks. So you should definitely not join the crew if you are not in the investment mindset, meaning not just am I willing to put money toward my personal development, but I'm also willing to put time into my investment, which we're going to talk about in detail in a minute, and that you're willing to show up and be vulnerable and get trained and get that feedback and make mistakes and talk about your fears in front of other people in the crew. That you're willing to invest, meaning go all in. The monetary investment is the smallest investment we're asking you to make. It's the other investment that's really going to make the difference, that you actually show up and keep working toward being the best trial attorney that you can be. And in fact, we're finding that most people in H2H are finding that their lives are improving through this work, because we are not just trial attorneys. We're people with families and wants and desires and health issues and all the other things that this work is going to help you really get grounded in. So let's talk about the second issue, or the second reason why you shouldn't join the H2H crew. And that is if you are looking for a quick fix. You know, when I first started in this work, people hired me because they thought I was a body language expert. In fact, the first man to hired me to come and watch the body language of jurors and tell him who he should kick off and who he should keep on. That whole story is the story of my book, in the opening of my book. And what he found was that it didn't matter what the fuck the jurors were doing body language wise. He was way more important. What was he doing and why was he doing all that weird shit? And stop that and do this instead. And that's really where it all started, is that I started realizing very early, thank goodness, that looking at jurors' body language wasn't going to get us very far. It's your body language that mattered. And then after I started working with that, I realized, well, it was your content that mattered too. And then I started realizing, oh, it's your mindset that really matters. And of course, now we attack all three plus group dynamics. So that first attorney, though, taught me how desperate y'all are for that quick fix, that thing that you can throw money at the problem and it will make your problem go away. And so this is not it. I'm sorry to tell you that it actually doesn't exist, and you can continue to look for it. It doesn't, it's not out there anywhere, but I can tell you for sure that it's not here. And we're not even going to promise you that. In fact, this is the long fix. And that's not super sexy or marketable. I told you that I wasn't great at marketing, but it's the absolute truth. If you want to be a top performing trial attorney, and this isn't a secondary thing, this is probably the first thing I should have said, live an unlimitless life, the life of your dreams, you got to be in this for the long haul. You got to be willing to manage your brain. You got to be willing to look at your shit. And that's what H2H is going to force you to do. Now, you may get in again and not do that and then eventually quit, but that's what I'm trying to help you avoid right now. If you're in, we're all in on you. I speak for me and all the coaches and all the admins and all the people in H2H. Someone just posted the other day, hey, I haven't been participating very much, but I have a trial coming up and I need to get back in. Where do you suggest I start? And just people rallied and said, we're here for you. What do you need? So when you go all in, we're all in on you. But this is not a quick fix. This isn't a gimmick. This isn't some body language tricks that you can use to perform voodoo on jurors. This is, how do I change my life from the inside out, which will, of course, affect your trial lawyer performing. But it's all about getting your mind right, getting your skills down, practicing, mastering that shit. It's not about a quick fix. Now, I know people say all the time, which is going to be leading to our third point, well, lawyers are busy. They don't have time. We all have the same amount of time. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But here's the thing about quick fixes is that y'all end up here anyway. Meaning most of the people that are in H2H are here because they've tried everything else. They've gone looking for the quick fixes. They've gone to all the CLEs. They've done all the books. They've done everything. And what they realize is techniques and gimmicks and quick fixes don't work. And they all end up here anyway. So if you want to go through all that, I leave you to it. But I'm just telling you, I'm not going to give you any slick marketing or slick this or that. Notice how I haven't promised you a verdict anywhere in my marketing ever, because that's not what we do. Are people winning verdicts? Yes. But that's not what we do. That's not what our focus is. We want to change your life. We want you to be happier. We want you to kick ass in the courtroom. Yes. But that all starts with building a life that you want from the inside out. Which brings us to the third reason you shouldn't join. And this is if you ascribe to this bullshit belief that I hear all the fucking time, which is, I don't have enough time. Bullshit. We all have the same amount of time. You get to decide how you want to spend your time. And if you aren't spending at least, I'm just going to say it, like 2 hours, what is that? Dinner and a movie? It's not even, dinner and a movie takes longer than that. If you can't invest even 2 hours, which I think would get you amazing results if you did 2 hours a week in H2H, then I'm going to just say it. You shouldn't fucking be a trial lawyer. Period. Because this work is hard. This work takes work. It takes you constantly showing up in your own life, in the courtroom, looking at your demons, dealing with that shit, managing your brain, on top of creating awesome content, getting feedback on that, delivering it, getting feedback on that. That's what this work deserves. That's what your clients deserve. So this, I don't have enough time, is bullshit. What are you doing with your time? Now, if you're like, well, I'm doing this and all this other shit that your paralegals should be doing, well, stop that shit. You shouldn't be doing that. Are you a trial lawyer or not? Trial lawyers, trial lawyer. That's what they do. They take shit to trial. And if you're going to take shit to trial, that is way more than just writing briefs and motions and taking depositions and all the rest of it. You have got to put time in your schedule to develop yourself as a trial attorney. And by the way, those are the only people I am willing to work with that recognize that fact and want to grow themselves. That's the kind of people that are in the H2H crew. They don't have excuses like, I don't have time. Because that's exactly what that is an excuse. Now, here's another thing you'll get in the crew is we're just going to be dropping, I think we've just dropped it this weekend or maybe the weekend. No, I think we started a couple weekends ago. Dropping our brand new course to H2H members called Life by Design, Manage Your Time to Live Your Dreams. It's a time management course, but it's really not. Because as I say in there, you don't manage your time, you manage you. I mean, do you learn how to schedule your calendar? Absolutely. I'm going to walk you through all that shit, but not until we talk about making some really hard decisions and changing your mind around this bullshit belief y'all seem to have, which is I don't have enough time. So if you join, you will get that course for free. Even though we plan on selling it outside of the membership, members will always get my stuff free because they're members. So every last awesome thing I create, y'all are going to get it for free. It's part of your membership. You're paying for the course, the From Hostage to Hero course that will never be available outside of the membership. And you're paying for the live events. But everything else is a bonus. So when I create it for people out there, you get it. If I make something out there, you get it. That's a major benefit. For example, when our guests come in and do their webinars, we have been having them in the From Hostage to Hero just forever. We're taking all that shit down. If that pisses you off, then join and become a member, because we think our members deserve to have that stuff. So we're giving it to our members. They get it in the membership portal for as long as they're members. You'll still get it From Hostage to Hero. You have a week to watch it, but you got to be a member to have lifetime access to it. Because we want to give our members all of our attention, because these are the people that are making the time and doing the work. So do not join today or over the next week while we're open if you are not willing to invest in yourself and be the type of person that invests in yourself, if you are looking for a quick fix, or if you think you don't have time. Because none of those beliefs are what H2H members hold. They invest in themselves. They're in it for the long haul, and they know that they are the masters of their time, not the other way around. Now, if that sounds like you, we would love to welcome you into the crew. We are open today through, I'm checking my calendar. Let me look here. So October 15th is today. We are open until October 21st. We close that night, I believe, at 9 p.m., but it could be 5 p.m. See, I should have talked to Christy before I did this podcast episode, because, again, she makes everything work. But don't wait. Get in there. If you want to try before you buy, if you're like, I'm not sure about this, sorry, I think I'm in, but I'm not totally sure. We have free stuff happening all this week. So we've got, let me look at my calendar again. We've got the free Facebook Live later this morning. We've got the membership nonverbal coaching next Tuesday. We've got, I believe, mindset coaching on Wednesday. And we've got, I'm probably forgetting something, the Water Circles next Thursday. And I think there might even be something else that I'm missing, but we've got free stuff. Normally you don't get to see that, but twice a year we open the crew so you can see the inside and see if it's for you. So make sure you go and you register. You can go to FromHostageToHero.com to look at all this stuff and to check and see if I knew what the hell I was talking about. See, because I have other people do those things because I know how to manage my time. That's why I don't know these things. There you go. Okay, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. All right, I'd love to invite you into the crew, and we have so much fun in there. But don't join if you don't believe these. If you believe these three things, because you won't have fun in there. But if you do, then we welcome you. Happy to see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining me today. If you benefited from what we talked about or just want to let me know you enjoy the podcast, go ahead and leave me a review on whichever platform you use to listen to From Hostage to Hero. Add a comment and I just might give you a shout out on an upcoming episode. In the meantime, head over to FromHostageToHero.com to order your copy of my book, From Hostage to Hero, Captivate the Jury by Setting Them Free, and to get on my mailing list. I send out trial tips and encouragement right to your inbox every single week. And while you're there, make sure you join the waitlist to become an H2H Crew member when we reopen. We only open a few times each year, and you do not want to miss out. I look forward to our time together in next week's episode. Talk then.